Hare Krishna, good morning.
Hare Krishna.
This is Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. I'm here in person with Mother Malini and dear Govinda Das, and I'm bhakta Devon. I'm noticing, Conch, if you didn't want to be, you're not on mute. If you wanted to mute yourself, I notice you're not on mute. And online, I have Anasuya, Garuda Das, Kanchambala, Kim, Parampara, Patrick, Anandini, Gajendra, and George. Welcome. I'll start with what I know of invocations, starting with Prabhupada pranams. Om Namo Bhagavate Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschata Deshatarni. Yeah. Let's chant the invocation, the Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Well, I guess there's some other invocations I could read. Beginning here. I'm not remembering what page you're at. Om Angana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurlun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. So, basically, just because I want us to be absorbed in Srila Prabhupada's mercy and knowledge and vibration. And because in my personal reading, I'm reading in chapter 9, and I had just read chapter 9, text 11. So we're going to read from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 11. And I guess that was my preface, was because that was a longer purport. And so to be absorbed more in Srila Prabhupada's vibration, to basically that's why I kind of chose that. And I just recently read that. Anyway, and thank you, Mother Molly, for asking me to give class. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 11. Let's do the word for word Sanskrit in call and response. Avajanti.
Avajananti.
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 Mam. Muda. Manusim. Tanum. Ashritam. Param. Bhavam. Ajananta. Mama. Bhuta. Maheswaram. avajananti mam muda
Avajananti mam muda
manusim tanum ashritam
manushim atam ashram
param bhavam ajananto
Bhagavanto
mama bhuta maheshwaram
Maheshwaram
avajananti mam muda
Avajananti mam muda
manusim tanum ashritam
manushim atam ashram
param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram
Maheshwaram
avajananti mam muda
Avajananti mam muda
manusim tanum ashritam
manushim atam ashram
param bhavam ajananto
Bhagavanto
mama bhuta maheshwaram
Avajananti mamuda
avajananti mam muda
manushim tanumashritam
manusim tanum ashritam
param bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
Maheshwaram
Mama Buddha Maheshwaram Avajananti Mamuda
avajananti mam muda
Manushintam Ashitam
ashritam
Param Bhavam Ajananto
param
ajananto
Mama Buddha Maheshwaram
Maheshwaram. Anyone online would like to chant?
Avanjananti mamuta
Avajananti mamuda
manusim tanamasritam
manushim tanumashritam
param bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
mama bhuta maheshwaram
Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Let's read the word for word translations. Avajananti, deride, mom, me, muda, foolish men, manusim,
Manushim
in a human form,
in a human form,
tanum,
Manu
body,
body,
ashritam,
Ashritam,
assuming,
Sumi,
param,
Transcendental,
transcendental, bhavam, nature,
Creature,
ajanta,
Ajananta,
not knowing,
not knowing,
mama,
Mama,
mine,
mind,
bhuta,
Buddha,
everything that be,
everything that be,
maheshwaram,
Maheshwaram,
supreme proprietor.
Supreme Proprietor.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And I'll mention the title to chapter 9 is The Most Confidential Knowledge. So reading in chapter 9, The Most Confidential Knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, text 11, translation, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. So if you're sitting down and comfortable for a couple of pages of this purport, I'll read them to you and you're welcome to follow along.
Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Sri Prabhupada's purport. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation cannot be a human being. Yet, there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishvaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him there's a minister, and above him a president. In each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, but in the material world and spiritual world, both in the material world and spiritual world, but Krishna is the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Sat Chit Ananda, non-material. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called Manusim because he is acting just like a man, a friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually his body is Satchitananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also, Satchitananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer, quote, I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the eternal form, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam govindam, quote, you are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Satchitananda vigraham, quote, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, it is full of bliss and knowledge. There are so many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this is exception of Sri Krishna. But this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Mura, for only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is the master of the material energy. He, as has been explained in several places, Mama Maya Duratyaya. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us? I like that Prabhupada's asking questions because I'm about to ask a lot of questions. So it just makes me feel that he's guiding us in that way. So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead, Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception, so they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam Aishvaram, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies among the impersonalists and personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative texts for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sage inquires about the activities of Krishna, it is stated that his appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands, but after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. His appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of the Gita, also it is stated, Tenaiva Rupena, etc. Arjuna prayed to see again that form of 4 hands, and when Krishna was thus petitioned by Arjuna, he again assumed his original form. All these different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna, who are infected with Mayavadi philosophy, quote the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutat mavastita sada. Quote, the Supreme is present in every living entity. That's Bhagavatam 3:29-21. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnavacharyas, like Jiva Goswami, instead of following the interpretations of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna is his plenary expansion as Paramatma, says that Krishna in his plenary expansion as Paramatma is situated in the moving and the non-moving entities as the supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archa Murti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities is uselessly worshiping the form of the Lord in the temple. Wow, we're probably going to come back and read this again. Okay, I'll just read that again now, at least for myself. It's like a very long sentence, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah. Wow. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, that's 3:29-21 in Bhagavatam, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non-moving entities as supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archa Murti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities is uselessly worshiping the form of the Lord in the temple. Yeah, I think we're going to come back to that. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Jiva Goswami warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Therefore, every body is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. And as such, as one offers respect to every body, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in whom the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all-pervading, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode in Goloka, Vrindavan, and he is always staying there, still, by his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. How are we all doing?
Yeah, it's purport, wonderful.
I had a couple days notice to prepare something for this class. What I practically did was I listened to a 77 Bombay lecture of Srila Prabhupada on this verse, on this text. And there was others. And then I ran around reading text before and after. I thought, practically it'd be really good if we read all the translations of chapter 9 for like a bit of context of this chapter called The Most Confidential Knowledge. And I started doing that. I did some of that, even though I haven't finished chapter 9. I would say at this moment, it may be my favorite chapter of Bhagavad Gita, although recently I had a favorite chapter. What chapter was that? I can't even remember. So now I'm sort of absorbed in chapter 9. If you're like me right now, you're wondering where is this going? Because I'm not totally sure where this is going. It seems to me, again, at this point in my official reading of the Bhagavad Gita through and through, it just seems to me this is all about relationships. It's all about everything's about relationships. That's where I'm at. Everything's about relationships. And so one thing I've noticed in this translation, in this purport, in chapter 9 especially, is Krishna's speaking mostly from I, me, mine. It's like a lot of I, me, mine. This is very, very personal. And I feel like I'm getting to know Krishna better through this chapter in different ways, more than just through his childhood pastimes and like that. More than through some direct instruction. Krishna will accept a fruit, a flower, water, but like so the way Krishna is speaking in this chapter to Arjuna feels very personal. And so I guess I wanted to say, what is this most confidential knowledge? I mean, what is the most confidential knowledge? I'm ready to stand corrected. And sort of my understanding of what's the most confidential knowledge, it's about who is Krishna, who is this Supreme Personality of Godhead, what are his likes and dislikes. The most confidential knowledge is knowing Krishna, and in that way knowing that Krishna is everything. We're Krishna's, I believe, marginal energy. We're his marginal energy, and and there's something about Krishna's, everything's in Krishna, but not every, it's like another, it's like,
Achintya verses 9.4 and 5.
yeah. So just previously, I know I was reading that and it was sort of bewildering, like everything's in Krishna, but so yeah, I have a lot of questions. I'm just chewing on things like, what does that mean? And what does it mean that even just after this, it's every even just after text 11 coming up is, and it's in Prabhupada shares in the purport, well, everyone is Krishna, everything is Krishna. And so, so Achintya Beta Tapa is important to realize that simultaneous oneness and difference, and which creates the relationship, because if we're all one, where's the relationship? So, and at the same time, so I found in this purport fascinating that I've heard, okay, my body's a temple. I want to take care of my body, keep it clean, and my body's a temple for Krishna. And it's like very motivating and inspiring, like sort of way to live. I want to take care of the facility, the temple, but it's with Krishna in the center, then I kind of trust, okay, well, I'm not getting carried away. This isn't self-indulgence. This isn't sense worship. This is like Krishna's in the center. So I'm doing these things for my body, for Krishna, including keeping my mind clean or engaged with Bhagavad Gita, with Bhagavatam, with transcendental sound vibrations, is like cleansing the mind. And from one of Srila Prabhupada's classes on this text, I heard, maybe I have to say I'm paraphrasing in case I mess it up, right? But basically I heard that we must become intelligent. We must become intelligent. Otherwise, we're muda, we're fools, we're foolish. And here in this purport, Prabhupada says, this is the first stage. He talks about the first stage, the lowest, the neophyte devotee. But even at this stage, like I feel, my sense is we're gaining and I'm growing at the neophyte stage. Even if I could even relate to that, that this is about growing in intelligence, growing in real knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is, I think, what Srila Prabhupada means when he says getting more intelligent, not just stuffing any facts into our minds, but actually becoming more intelligent in this transcendental philosophy. And at the essence, who is Krishna and where is Krishna? That Krishna's in everything. So and I wanted to share. So recently, I'd given myself a challenge, sort of like the swear jar. The swear jars. You put money in the swear jar if you swear in the house, because it's like a bad thing to do. And then you do, and then maybe something happens. I don't know what happens with the money. I never did it, but then it's like, was that it? Then we go out for ice cream. It's kind of motivating the wrong way. So what do you do with that? But I challenge myself. If I don't treat my partner, she's here, Kanchambala, if I don't treat her the way I want to be treated, I've really screwed up and I need to put this dollar in. And I did like a 4 days and there was some money in there. I won't go into how much, but yeah, sort of bad. So okay, so that was sort of my mind that week, was like, treat others the way I want to be treated. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's really good, right? That's the motto. Is a motto. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Okay. Somehow that principle came to me. I challenged myself. That's what I was trying to do. It was pretty easy to identify because I sort of know how I want to be treated, and so it's like, oh, that's not how I want it. And then it was like the reciprocation with Super Soul must have reciprocated with me. And through that process, I realized, yeah, oh, whoops, I screwed up again. that's a lame principle, actually. There's a higher principle. There's a higher principle. So what is that higher principle? Well, I think it's treat others the way they want to be treated. So what is, so I'm chewing on that. I treat others the way I want to be treated. Okay, that might be better than just some mundane ignorance. Okay. And then what's higher than that? Oh, treat others the way they want to be treated. Oh, then I'd have to know. Then I'd have to know them. I'd have to know about who they are in their mind and what they want. So this chapter for me is so much about learning Krishna's mind and what he wants, so I can serve him better. And Krishna's in my wonderful partner. Krishna's in me. We're having a relationship. I'm having a relationship with Krishna through them. And so there's an opportunity to just manifest, to practice this principle. And so ends up, we're the same as Krishna. We're the same in qualities, in different quantities. So it's like, what's the source of me wanting? I want some adoration. I want some respect and appreciation. I like to be offered all kinds of things. And I want, love and, oh, wait, Krishna wants that. Krishna's the source of that. So I have that because Krishna has that. And I know there's some smarter way to say all this stuff, but this is my level of, understanding. And so, so it brought me to like a deeper challenge. Okay, it's one thing, I'm going to treat others the way I want to be treated. It's kind of like, it's simple, it's kind of dumb even. It's like, well, okay. Oh, I'll really have to know others and go into the relationship and find out, how do they want to be treated at the personal level? What are the nuances? What kind of flowers do they like to be offered? What kind of sweets and foodstuffs are their favorite, right? And because I'm also studying relationships in other texts, more modern, but considered classics in relationships, notably Getting the Love You Want. Getting the Love You Want is considered, I think, a relationship classic. And in the book, they talk about this, treat others the way they want to be treated as a principle, and what it means there. What they explain there is, so we'll be fulfilling our part, some unsatisfied part in our partner. That, okay, so the idea is that we choose a partner to kind of complete us. We choose a partner that maybe has statistically, we often choose, apparently humans are choosing partners, relationships that the other person has some of the negative qualities of our parents. This is the idea in this book. And then, okay, why would we do that? Okay, and I was like, that's really hard to accept. Why would I do that? Why would I choose a partner with some of the negative qualities of my parents? And so, okay. And it ends up, it makes sense. It's like the perfect opportunity for me trying to fulfill this unfulfilled desires I was left with as a child, where the parents, had shortcomings, and then I choose a partner with those shortcomings or similar, and then I'm still trying to get some completion and some reciprocation where there was lack. And it ends up that where I can give my partner what they need is the perfect place where I need to. It ends up being, it's the place where I need the growth most. So when I notice, my partner really needs me to be a better listener. My partner really needs me to support them in certain ways, be more gift giving, or be more attentive and present in quality time. Whatever their kind of most need is, it kind of ends up being the place I need the most growth. And the perfection of that is they get what they want and need, and I'm growing in the area that I was lacking. And so there's a beautiful, I'm kind of realizing about the beautiful perfection. And so there was a few days in a week where I thought I knew the secret of life, the perfection of life, realizing that is my realization in this moment, in that moment, was the perfection of life. It's realizing that life is perfection, that life is perfect. So the goal of life is to realize that life is perfect. Wow. Okay. So that sounds great. Sounds smart. Maybe there's truth to, maybe it's true. I don't know, but it came to that. And then I was telling somebody, I know the goal of life, and I forgot what it was. I said, oh, wait, I forgot. And then I kind of come back to it. And, but I mean, basically that is where I'm at. And it sounds simple. My practical experience is it's maybe unrealistic goal to actually be in realization that life is perfect, that my sufferings are perfect, that all the reciprocations, all the things that are kind of happening to me, happening around me, happening to other people. Yeah, it's like, what would that look like to be in realization of that? And well, I mean, it would be transcendental. It would be transcending material views and accepting the material context as a perfect mechanism and perfect opportunity. Even that we're here in Kali Yuga, right, is amazing. It's the best yuga for going directly back to Godhead, because, right, if things are so comfortable and there's not so much suffering and we're living thousands of years and health and happy and everything's great, it's like, where's the inspiration? Where's the, what's challenging us to remember Krishna, to want to leave this place, to want to go home? But yeah, I think Blue Springs, as an example, recently, it like the well collapsed, something happened, the spring stopped running and it turned brownish. And I just saw pictures and I really had the feeling like, this is the end. This is the clear water is gone. Like, this is the end. And I go, oh God, oh God, oh God, like I was grasping. I mean, it's so hot outside, is it? Like, I want to run to my car, just air conditioning to air conditioning, So it's like, isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful how horrible things are? It's like, we got to find somewhere to go. We need, I have to find air conditioning, and it's like, if things were so great, I would just have no motivation to try to find any like cool, clean water and air conditioning. And there goes the spring. I've heard it's come back. I think it's been restored, just to be, I don't want to create drama, right? I think it's been restored again for now. And it's cleaned itself up. It's this miracle. Something happened. It's just amazing to me. And I want to go into that, but yeah, I really felt deep, man, things are just getting darker. It was just, for me, it was a personal taste of that. So, and there's lots of examples. There's unlimited examples here, practically, of the disease. I like when Dear Govinda shares, oh, and now because of science and medicine, we have less disease. No, we don't. We're discovering more diseases all the time. And we're having to, we're going to try to cure this one and that one. It's like, no, because of science, we don't have less suffering and less disease. So why I like hearing that? Well, it's just I don't want to get my hopes up about this place. I understand. I don't want to get my hopes up about this place, this world ever getting better. This is not the goal, right? The goal maybe is to realize the perfection of this machine, to accept the intrinsic of the material world, the temporary nature and its intrinsic miseries. The more I accept and stop resisting those, isn't it? Then actually, my mind's more calm. My mind's more calm and able to be absorbed in who's my partner, who is Krishna, what do they like, how can I serve them? And then as I do that, I'm just happier. I'm happier in service. Our position is secondary enjoyers. So we're happier, isn't it? Yeah. So we're happier. We're happier seeing bringing joy to others. Bringing joy to others is going to give us more happiness than serving ourselves. How can we see that practically? How can we see that practically? Well, like one example, the mother giving the breast milk to the child, and yeah, even the mother suffering giving the breast milk to the child, but seeing the joy, feeding their child and getting that fat on his body, like it's I don't have that experience, but like that makes sense to me. So it made sense to me. Being served. Okay, we all like being served, hearing our names chanted. We all enjoy things. The pizza example is you can eat slice after slice of pizza. It's good, but it's diminishing. There's diminishing returns there. Eventually, don't give me any more pizza. I hate pizza. So where does the path go? Like, I want to be served. I want to be worshiped. It leads to probably greed. It leads to just, like this. And then people envy me. And then probably I'm killed. Because somebody wants my position and my wealth. And where does this lead? But, I want to be I really just, practically, I want to rewire myself. It's a goal to rewire myself to learn to actually really experience this enjoyment of service. And it's I think beginning with going back to Prabhupada says, like, we must become intelligent. We must become intelligent. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I like that challenge, like, intelligent. He doesn't say, I have some notes. Yeah. So it's like, I love that challenge from others. Get it together, man. Come on. Okay. So I'm going all over the place, connecting my thoughts, and I'm looking at some notes, and I definitely want to hear anything that anyone has to share, and I'll open that up in a moment. I've covered a lot of my notes in various ways. And yeah, because authentic service is joyfully performed, isn't it? It's joyfully performed. I get to dance and sing and worship and love Krishna and my partner, and Krishna and my partner, and just, it's like, and friends and others, and like, why wouldn't I want, like, that's amazing. Like, why don't I do that all the time? So just relishing like that. And it is an effort. It's an effort because of where I'm at, right? It's an effort because I'm in illusion. It's an effort because I'm thinking I'm God. I'm thinking I'm the controller. I'm in so many illusions. Then it's an effort to, like, be in that joyful service. It's from where I'm at. I know it's an effort. And so making that effort, then yeah, I get reciprocation. Oh, this is satisfying. This is really much more satisfying than trying to be the controller all the time. It doesn't work. And yeah, and we naturally know something about this. Like, how do we naturally know this? How do we know this experience? Because in our home, our father is the most abundant. We're from the most wealthy family. We're from we are the children of the, so like, how do we know about abundance and happiness and joy? Like, where's our natural connection to that? Well, yeah, we're from the most joyful, abundant family. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that amazing? Like, our father is he's the most abundant. So there's no, so whenever I'm in the thinking I'm the controller, that's about fear. That's about lack. That's about, I'm in, it's like a faithless scarcity mentality. I can see that. I can see when I'm trying to control things, I'm in fear, I'm in lack, I'm in insecurity, and I'm not knowing, oh, I have access to all the abundance. I'm forgetting that, and that's an illusion. And that's why we do know something about the experience of abundance, even if we haven't experienced abundance in this body, in this lifetime, in different ways. We just have it innately in who we are. That's because that's where we're from. Yeah. I've said things, I've not discussed and talked about some of the things that I mentioned, that I have probably no realization about, but I've mentioned some things. Prabhupada talks about fools that deride God as man, that are confused that when God appears, when Krishna appears and has a two-armed form and looks like a human, fools, like the less intelligent. They don't understand, Krishna's giving us this opportunity to know him in a form that we can relate to. And that's what that is, And those fools that deride him, Prabhupada calls them Muda. Muda is defined, Prabhupada uses the word rascal and rascaldom. And that's just fun to say. And okay. So, and maybe we'll get something from recalling the pastime of, is it Mugari the hunter?
Megari.
Yeah.
Megari.
Mrigari. Yeah. Well, actually, in the lecture, Prabhupada doesn't even say his name. He just says, story from the Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm.
This man, this hunter, is he's half killing the animals, and I guess he also like does skins and stuff. So when Narada Muni comes and sees. Okay, and then they see each other, and the hunter, he actually acknowledges this is a saintly person, or like this is a special person. He must like want some animal skins, maybe for his yoga or something. So Prabhupada described like that. I like hadn't heard these different parts of the story, and I thought, okay, that's fascinating. He was ready to just offer him like free, like this is my family business. This is what we do, and like, oh, we'll give to you. We want to give to you in charity like this. And so Narada Muni's like, okay. And so about relationships. So Prabhupada shares in a Bombay 77 lecture on Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Calcutta 77. He shares this story, and it's about this relationship, Narada Muni meeting the hunter where he's at. And so he's meeting him where I understand is your family business. And like, if you could just maybe kill them all the way. He doesn't go to like, well, it's sin. Immediately he doesn't go to, it's sin to kill animals. It's Krishna's in every living entity. Well, the most confidential knowledge that we're getting now, he doesn't go there, okay? Even though maybe he's recognized as a saintly person, even though the hunter has some respect already, maybe he could have, but he meets him where he's at, he's developing trust and relationship. And he goes, well, I mean, I'm just doing what the hunter goes, I'm just doing what my dad taught me, right? I'm just following instructions. But like, okay, kill them all the way because I'm creating suffering. And then he was planting seeds in his heart and transformation starts happening. And I think pretty quickly they go to, because there's suffering, because you're creating suffering, there's this thing, karma, there's sin. So he does have a discourse, like a conversation about that. And I just appreciated Narada Muni, like meeting him where he's at. And so what happens to the hunter then? He then his heart transforms because of his association with a pure devotee, right? This is the thing. It's like, to become a devotee, we have to become intelligent. Not just a pure devotee, we have to become intelligent. That's the Prabhupada says this. Number one, we need to give up all designations. I'm this body, I'm American. That's Prabhupada said in that lecture. Number one, give up all designations and and then we're moving towards this intelligence, and this intelligence is accepting Krishna as he is and knowing who Krishna is. And so this is the goal. This is the higher goal. It's like realizing the perfection of things is like, in the perfection of things, we realize who Krishna is and who we are in the relationship. And so eventually the hunter, so he tells Narada, well, like, this is my family business. This is how we sustain ourselves. This is how we feed ourselves. So okay, I'll kill the animals all the way. Okay, I won't leave them suffering. I can see that now. But so at one point he's going to that place, and then he's saying, no, but I can't like quit altogether, because no, this is how we sustain ourselves. So he's in some like, illusion, like we are. We're I'm the God. I'm God. I'm the controller. I'm the provider. I'm sustaining myself, my family. And Narada says, well, okay, so if you'll surrender, if you'll give this up completely, if I provide for you, if everything's provided for, if I can guarantee you everything is provided for you and your family, will you give this up? And he goes, well, I mean, yeah, like, I don't want to be out here like in the heat hunting all the time. It's just a job. Like, I'm not necessarily enjoying it. Oh, if I had everything provided for me, yeah, I'd give it up. I'll give it up. So he gives it up. He gives it up because because Narada reassures him, it's all taken care of. It's already taken care of. So, man, there's a challenge, right? There's a challenge for me to go, whoa, okay. So I think somehow I heard that story, and the fascination of just like, wow, that's so gross. I pretty much missed the point until I sort of came to prepare for this class, and I listened to that lecture, and I go, oh, okay. That's the point. That's the point. Is it's a story about, I'm not the controller. Everything's already provided. I don't need to do these gross material things to satisfy my senses, to try to be, I'm the maintainer. No, that's totally illusion. The more I give that up, the more I'll actually be in joy and bliss and, moving in the right direction. Hare Krishna. I'll read the Sanskrit translation. Avanjananti mam Buddha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. And yeah, every time I read in this just that translation, I'm like, wow, I didn't even catch this, that word dominion just has so much power in this moment. And earlier, I didn't even remember when Prabhupada shared about Krishna's wonderful childhood pastimes and his mother, Vasudeva Devaki. I'm like, wow, that's in here. It's like, wow, there's so much in this purport. It's like, so we could spend months, weeks, months, days, years talking about this, probably text, verse, purport, chapter. I think I'm good for the moment. So thank you for being with us. And I welcome your comments, feedback, questions, criticisms, sharing where you're at. Garuda, you have your hand up, please. Hare Krishna.
Hey Krishna, thank you, Bhakta Devon, for your class. And I really appreciated going on a journey into Bhakta Devon's world and his experience and Krishna consciousness, and just your process and putting this class together. I have two things that kind of come up for me. I'm kind of curious about what your thoughts are. And I'm really, again, I'm just appreciating, this, this is so significant that, our creator, our origin, where we come from, is, giving really clear, concrete descriptions of himself and our relationship to him, and what he likes and doesn't like, and what he desires. And it just seems like if we are going to connect to God as a person, then this is really important. This information is really important, and it almost seems kind of unbelievable that we have access, that we can actually get this information from God. It almost seems like, is this really true or not? This question of, can I trust? can I trust this is actually, what God really is and what he wants and likes? And so that kind of comes up for me. And then what is your understanding? My first question is, what is your understanding of why this is described as the most confidential knowledge? I'm thinking it seems like really like essential knowledge, but what is your understanding of why it's described as confidential?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're curious about why it's the most confidential, and you're curious what I realized about it, what I understand about that. And and I appreciate like this, your sort of like amazement, and even with some doubt, how can it be basically that simple? You're saying this is foundational stuff. If God's a person, then let's get to know him. And how can it just be that straightforward? He's going to provide us with information and tell us who he is and what he likes. And isn't it that just great? Like, how can it be that easy? It can't be. Like, it creates even some, just like a little bit of doubt there. So, or maybe a lot of doubt. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think that was in me, and I hadn't put words to it. Yeah, like, is it just get to know God? But so one thing that comes up for me is, well, God, getting to know Krishna is not a cheap thing. It wouldn't be, can't be, So that's one thing that comes up for me. It's not, and I said something about it's simple, but it's effort. Okay, and so I just go back to thinking about relationship, marriage, partners, friendships, the effort, the work, the time to put into, because you don't just reveal, I don't reveal my intimate self, the most confidential, personal information with anyone, right? There's got to be some established trust. And I think practically, how would I establish that trust with someone, anyone, with Krishna? Practically, like consistency, regulation, showing up, chanting, offering, having a program, having a program where Krishna is in the center, having a program with my wife, my family, where I show up, I'm attentive, and like this. So then I'm building through consistency, trust, and through trust and some introspection about like, how much can I be in someone else's, how much am I in, learning some tools to practically serve, practical tools to serve others, like listening skills, like that, to acknowledge and reciprocate with others, with Krishna. Like, oh yeah, this is what you like. Yeah, it's different than what I like, but okay, this is your world, like validating. So this is what's coming up for me. I'm not sure how it responds to your question.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. A relationship with God is not a cheap thing. And then also, like, Krishna reveals himself with our desire, our, showing up in a steadiness way and sincerity. And, I'm just thinking about, like, let's say I'm just a random person in the world, and someone puts a book in my hand, the Bhagavad Gita, and it has this confidential knowledge right in it. And so, I'm just wondering, like, okay, I haven't been steady. I haven't been like showing up, but I guess there's
Yeah.
some sincerity, desire there that I wouldn't even have the book in my hand if I didn't have some part of me energetically that was asking for something more in life, or so that's what kind of my curiosity in that, like, oh, I'm receiving the instruct, but I may read it and not even like understand it or absorb it, or
Yeah.
so I'm kind of thinking about it in that context too. Just because we have the Bhagavad Gita in our hand and it tells us the most confidential knowledge, are we even able to receive it? Anyway, there's some thought.
I'm appreciating your response to your question a lot. Yeah, like, oh, here's a book in your hand, even like free. I didn't give anything in reciprocation. Now I have the most confidential knowledge of God. Like I just said, it's not cheap, No, I love where you're going, because sure. And then you went further. You went further to explain what, like I don't have the eyes to see. I don't have Krishna's everywhere. Krishna's paramount. Krishna's in everyone's heart. Krishna's in my heart. I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. What does this mean, right? Prabhupada says, first thing, we must become intelligent. Oh my God. So and just, I read this purport a couple of times. I'm reading it again. New things are there I didn't see before. So you were responding to your question. I think I enjoyed how you explored there, because I'm with you. I'm with you in some doubt. I'm with you in, okay, it's not cheap, but here it is, and it seems simple. But I'm with you so much there. And then you said, but I read, and what do I actually practically understand? How am I reciprocating? How am I showing up in my life? That's that's sort of the application, right? We grow in intelligence, and then I think the next level must be about a practical application. I'm just making a conjecture there. I'm just assuming that's like moving more towards realization, is how am I living in reciprocation with this knowledge, and as I grow in my intelligence, how am I practically behaving?
Yes, thank you. I was also thinking about the mercy of the pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada, he gives us these books and instructs us to distribute them, and then also the spiritual master is Krishna's mercy, so it's all coming from Krishna. Just kind of sitting with that as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm really feeling like moved by your where you're going with this. Right. Prabhupada's mercy is Krishna's mercy, and in Krishna and Prabhupada, they're giving us what we're not ready for, what I'm not ready for. They're giving it freely anyway. This is Lord Chaitanya. This is the Vaishnavas, like giving pure free love of Krishna, even though we're not ready for it. This is mercy. They're taking our sin, right? They're taking our sin in that way, sort of like they're being responsible. They're being 100% responsible to give, and even to give to those to everyone, who can't see, is not ready. And even especially to those like who are in such degraded in Kali Yuga. This is the most degraded age, to give even more, right? To give even more freely. And I appreciate you sharing. Anasuya has her hand up.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for class. I really appreciated, like you said, you really want to absorb yourself and us in Bhagavad Gita, and so this confidential knowledge, this particular verse has so much nectar, and like there's so many places we could go, and we could be here all year just discussing this one verse. And so two things stood out for me. I like the platinum rule that you gave. So your relationship with Krishna and your partner, you want to you want to treat your partner, you want to serve your partner that's that they want, how they like to be treated. And so I've always, I didn't understand that being like a superior rule over the golden rule of treat your others as you'd like to be treated to yourself. And so I think Bhagavad Gita helped me realize the difference and how significant that is. And I certainly know that I feel more joyful if I serve others and Krishna, and that brings me joy. So thank you for that sharing, your personal sharing on that as well. And the second is, I just wanted to say how enlivening it was last night at Prabhupada's house. We have a neighborhood Melrose vegan potluck that comes once a month. And so it was last night, and we had 15 Melrose neighbors and people in the community that want to get together to share in this goodness. And so since we were at Prabhupada's house and we were at the table, and Prabhupada is looking over us, there's a beautiful picture of Prabhupada on the wall. And so it gave space for people to ask, who is this person? Who is this person? And so we got to, there was such a lively discussion on Prabhupada and how this house came about and how Lakshmi Priya and I want to serve. And, you know, this is one way that we can serve, is to give the mercy of the Lord through food distribution. And so it was just a beautiful space of people receiving and understanding a little bit more about what we're doing in Melrose, and everyone was very, excited to hear more. So so I'm just so appreciative that I feel like if I remember that I'm serving Prabhupada and I'm serving Prabhupada and I'm serving Krishna, that brings me joy. And then by giving prasadam, that gives me joy. And so it's like the full circle. So it's just a beautiful experience. So I just wanted to share my joy this morning with you and with everybody, and just appreciating the verse that you chose today. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Anasuya, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I can't think of joyful in his service without thinking of you. You're coining that, and it's very inspiring. So we went there today about joyful in his service, and and through the vegan potluck, you're enlivened in service. You're joyful in service through the secret weapon of prasadam. But it gets even more relishable and deeper when, like, who is that? And you get to share, you get to share about your heart, your mission, your relationship with Prabhupada, why you're so moved to share it. It's like, it's even more satisfying and more exciting.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhakta Devon.
What's the picture of Prabhupada? What picture of Prabhupada?
What's the picture?
Yeah. Which picture of Prabhupada is the large picture there?
Right now, it's just a black and white sketching of Prabhupada. But it's a very large sketching of him. So it's really just his face, and so that's not so nice. Is that it really, you get to see him closely, and so yeah, and he's I'm not exactly sure which picture it is to be more specific, other than his whole face is there, and it's larger than your face. It's really it's very present for people to see. That's what I like about it.
A large portrait.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else present or online like to share anything at this time?
I really like the parallel you made with our relationship with human being. Of course, human being are having the human experience, and super soul is present in the body as well as a individual soul. And then, like the training ground for our relationship with Krishna in a sense is our relationship with others, and even more so in other devotees, like the partner, the devotee.
Somebody came off of mute.
Yeah.
Somebody came off of mute. There's a little,
Right.
like an echo. Yeah.
Patrick is off of mute. There you go.
And yeah, because that's our training ground. And the most confidential knowledge, as I understand it, at the beginning of chapter 9, first chapter 9, there is 18 chapters, so 9 is the middle. And the middle 6 chapters are the most confidential. They are confidential. And then the most confidential is chapter 9, which is the middle of Bhagavad Gita reading. You have 18 chapters. Yeah. So, and it starts with like, I'm going to give you that knowledge, oh Arjuna, because of your character, because you're not envious. So right there, like not envious of other living entities and not envious of me. And then he goes on, explaining like, this is the king of education, the king of knowledge. And then he said, it's joyfully performed. So it's a performance in a sense. And what that performance is what you were speaking about, is devotional service. So what's confidential here is not like a knowledge, it's not a knowledge, it's a performance. The performance of what? Devotional service. And then, like, of course, it culminates man back to always think of me, like, give everything to me. And that's the way you perform devotional service. And that's so much what you were sharing about, like really learning what another person wants, who they are, making them important. Otherwise, it's just that self-absorption. I'm going to serve Krishna or other people the way I want to serve them or the way I want to be. And who cares? Well, that's not devotional service. Like, yeah, Krishna gives so much in chapter 12, which is the end of that series of 6 chapters. He said, one was, different qualities that really please. He said, such a person is very, very dear to me, and it's very dear to me, and very dear to me. And then that section ends with like, and someone who's always abiding by me, always serving me, abiding by me. Is very, very dear. So that's the real, what's so intimate is bhakti yoga, that love and devotion. That's very, very confidential. Because it's not Gyan and it's not Sankhya. It's something else.
It's something else, something discovered through the relationship.
Truth service. And that's knowledge is only bestowed through service.
A special loving relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the bhakti.
That's the bhakti, and that's what you speak with your partner, the bhakti, and then it becomes personal. Before that, it's not personal.
Yeah. Who am I in relationship with Krishna? What is our relationship? This is it's the most confidential. What's that juice? What's that nectar? What's that reciprocation? What is that move?
The service.
Yeah, through the service.
Yeah.
Through the
service.
What is that service? What does that service look like? What is that mood? Like, how do I, what individually, that service.
Always think of it. Like when people fall in love, that's why we can really learn from our relationship during our human form, relationship with each other. Because when we fall in love, there's only one object of our thought process. Only one object. There's nothing else. Everything comes back to that loving the object of our love. And there is no other thoughts. So, okay, that's a perverted reflection. Now I know but still, even so it's perverted reflection, I know what it means to be so in love that there is no other food. So I want that for Krishna. I want that my that my mind is always absorbed, that there is no other food than the food of Krishna and pleasing Krishna.
It sounds like the most intimate connection and absorption and the way you
That's
describe
the
it.
most confidential marriage.
Thank you.
You can tell me confidential.
Yeah.
Dr. George had his hand up, but it looks like he doesn't.
I saw a hand up from Dr. George right as I was turning the computer, and now he's actually gone. Sorry, Dr. George. And Patrick, you came off on mute. Did you want to share something? Kram Paradas.
No, I just want to say thank you for leading class, and I just want credit for being here and listening. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
You're acknowledged, and thank you. Hare Krishna. I'm happy to stay for a few more minutes. Maybe George is just going to come right back. I don't know. And there's a chat from Anandini. Wonderful class. Thank you. I wish you would give class more often. So practical and yeah. I'm gonna bring it back up and practical and genuine. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Anandini. Going once, going twice. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.